Grandpa Julie,
Yes, thank you.
welcome. It's such a
Thanks.
pleasure to have you here.
Okay, I'm happy to be here.
Great, great. So I wanted to start, in looking at your life. When were you born
1920, March 7, 1920,
and where?
in Vienna.
Yes, Austria. And you have siblings, family?
They were all,
How many you had siblings?
we were four brothers.
Yes, you were,
I was the youngest.
and the older ones, what was it, the ages and names?
Well, William, Maximilian, and Siegfried, and I was Julius.
Yeah, you were the baby.
Real German names.
And what was life like growing up in Vienna?
Well, I have to say, my youth, I had the most wonderful youth anybody can have. My father, I would say maybe he was affluent. I had governess coming in when I was 4 years old, and she remained with us until Hitler came. She was a wonderful lady, and I learned a lot from her. In fact, while she was an orphan, and my father married her off, and her husband became the bookkeeper in our business,
Oh, in your father's business.
in my father's business.
What was his
yes.
business?
He was in the silk business.
The silk business.
Yeah.
Where did he bring it in from? The
From all over, basically from Japan
from Japan.
and different places. I remember from Japan because one of the transports, which the last one, which was supposed to come to Vienna, we transferred over to Belgium, where it's another story where I escaped, and it helped us financially quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll definitely get to that. But you guys seem like a very close family.
We were very close.
Yeah. Were
Very
you?
close.
Was there music in the family?
There are a lot of music. My father was a great singer. He loved to sing. Two of us played the violin, and two of us played the piano. And every Sunday morning we had our own concert. My two brothers on the piano, I and my brother on the violin, and my father was singing. This was every Sunday morning, and we really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that sounds like such a wonderful childhood.
yeah.
What a wonderful way
It's
to bring up.
surprising, we were four brothers, and we never had a fight, which is unusual. We got along very, very well.
That's great. And so I know that when the Nazis came in March of 1938,
Yeah.
prior to that, did you think things were going on? What was the mood like?
Well, until he came in, actually, about 2 months before he marched in, we started to feel it. But until that time, it was a beautiful life.
Yeah, you were never scared. You never
No,
feared for
never
yourself.
feared, never scared. We had good relationship with all our neighbors. And,
Jewish and non-Jewish?
both, yes. I went to a non-Jewish school. And I had no complaints.
Yeah.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time in the summertime. My father built a home outside Vienna, a summer home, and we spent a lot of time there. And we had some beautiful times together.
Oh, that's wonderful. How old were you when the Nazis invaded Austria?
18.
You're 18 years old.
Yeah.
So you had...
They almost came in on my birthday. It was March 7th, and that's when they marched in.
Yeah. And were they resisted? Were they welcome? What was the mood like
The
when
mood
they came
was
in?
unbelievable. They were very welcomed. All of a sudden, everybody was a Nazi. Before we didn't know. Overnight, they all were in uniforms. How they did it, I don't know.
Yeah. And and literally overnight, could you go in the streets? How quickly did the rules get imposed? Were people starting to be taken away?
Maybe 1 week.
One
They
week.
started very fast. We were afraid to walk in the street. In fact, in the building, we had a superintendent. Her name was Marie. She was like a second mother to me because she knew me before I was born. And she was very careful, very helpful to us. She sometimes she put on a swastika on her arm and walked my parents to the business. They should not know her. But She was wonderful. She took certain pieces of jewelry and kind of important stuff and hid it. And after the war, they sent it back to us.
Yeah, and you got it back?
Yes, I got it back. And one of these pieces my brother has, my son has in his home. You know it, you saw it.
I do. It's a beautiful clock.
Yeah.
It's lovely. I didn't know the story. I'm glad I do now behind
yeah.
it. That's a nice treasure to have.
Yeah.
No, that's good. And so your father was still going to work every day, was still operating his silk business?
Yeah.
Even after the Nazis came in?
Yeah.
For how long did that?
Well, the Nazis came, they confiscated our passports right away. They cleaned out the apartment. We had a terrific collection of stamps. They took it right away.
Yeah.
So, but luckily, at that moment, they did not take us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just were overseeing. This was when, 1930?
1938, March, April, May.
Mm-hmm. And so the idea to leave right away when they came in, like when did you guys decide that you needed to get out of Austria?
We knew right away we had to leave, and we made all kind of preparations. I and my brother, we were supposed to go to Israel.
Which brother? You have a few of them.
Sydney.
Sydney, okay.
My second after. We were supposed to go to Israel. In fact, they had transports, illegal transports, sending people from the Vienna to Israel. I was supposed to be on 3 trains, and 3 times they took me off because there were other people from small towns which were more in need, and they preferred them. And then it became a time when we couldn't wait anymore, and I started to, my oldest brother, William, he became the godfather of the family. He did everything. And I don't know how he did it, he arranged it that we got some visas to go to Spain. He got friendly with a Christian lawyer who had some influence, but they told us don't go to Spain because those are phony visas. When you come into Belgium, get off the train. So that's what my brother and myself, that's what we did. We got off the train and we went straight to the police.
So just you and Sydney left?
I am Sydney.
What
I was the
happened?
first one.
What about Max and Willie and your parents?
Well, they were still in Vienna. They were supposed to get visas to the States, so they had to wait there. That's a long story. But when we came to Belgium, the police was very polite to us, and we were lucky because most people tried to go over the border illegal. But if they tried over the border, the border patrol, if they caught them, they send them right back.
Yeah.
Some of them which were able to smuggle them through came to Belgium. But we were in that way very easy because we just went on the train and we got off.
The train, did it actually have to pass through Germany to get to Belgium, or how did it actually go, the route? I was looking at a map and, understanding where Austria is in proximity to Belgium. I was curious.
It must have gone through Germany.
Yeah, okay, no, it was just something I was curious to hear. And so when you guys, so it was just you and your brother Sydney.
We were the first ones coming to Belgium, to Antwerp.
Yes, and you went to the police. Did you know anyone in Belgium?
I didn't know anyone.
Did you have any money? What did you escape? What did you bring with you?
Well, we were supposed to bring $10. And I again have to mention this Marie, who was like a second mother to me. She sent us money to Antwerp. She was allowed to send out $10 legally. $10 legally was like $50 illegally. And with the $10 we got, we could live for the months.
Okay.
So we were very fortunate that way.
Yes. And so you were living well, living okay?
Well, we had a little...
Obviously better than some.
We had a little room there in the mansarde, and my brother, myself.
How did you find a place to live?
There were signs all over the door.
Okay.
To hire, it's called to rent.
Okay. Yeah. I got you. And so you were getting the $10, every month. Were you able to work or make any other money?
We were not allowed to work. We worked illegally. As I said, I was living in a little room with my brother, and there was a Polish guy who also had a little room. He was cutting furs.
Mm-hmm.
So he told me, "You have nothing to do. Come up to me. I'll teach you a little bit of the fur business." That's how I came into the fur business.
Oh, that's how you learned the trade.
Yeah, slowly. Yeah.
And was your brother Sidney working at all? Was he able to bring any other money in?
No, then he got the job delivering milk in the morning. And we made a little money.
So you made it work?
In fact, most of the refugees, they went to a committee who helped them.
Mm-hmm.
They had to stand there in line, and every week they got a certain amount of money, and they had a big room, like a dining room where they could eat. I never went there.
Yeah.
I was one of the lucky ones. We got friendly with the Belgium crowd, and we went into the Mizrachi, there's a Jewish organization, and they took us in, and we lived considering quite nicely there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. How many spoons did you guys have, though, in your room? You said when you were eating...
One spoon. The one spoon made the round. Everybody got one spoon, and we had a friend of us who was there living with us too.
Yeah, so three of you and one spoon?
Yeah.
Any forks?
No, it was too much.
How long did you live there?
In Belgium?
Yeah, with just you and your brother?
Well, we lived there for about 2 years, but after 6 months, my brother Max came, the same way with the phony visa.
Mm-hmm.
He was supposed to be a doctor. He needed about a year and a half to finish his medicine education. But when he came to Belgium, he said, "A doctor I won't be anymore, because I never come to the States. I wouldn't get any credit, and they cannot start from the beginning again. Yeah. So take me and teach me a little bit of the fur business too." So I took him in, and but he was not very handy, and he received the visa to go to the States. I think he was the last boat out of Vienna to go to the States. When he came to the States, of course, he wasn't good enough to be a furrier. The union wouldn't take him in. So he and his brother, they went into business.
To Willie, Uncle Willie.
Yeah.
They got into business together. Yeah. But you were the one who was showing everyone the fur business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they figured I'm coming soon, but they never came. Because then the war started and we got stuck there.
Where were your parents?
My parents and my grandfather, they also came on the same way. They were the last ones to come out. My brother William, he did not leave Vienna until everybody was safe. And he could have been the first one out because he had some good friends who made visas, affidavits for them. So my parents came, and we were able to prepare a little apartment for all of us together.
Yeah.
My grandfather was 85 years old. When we came to the council, they were very strict. He didn't make the health. I don't know if they would let him. So my mother and my father could have come, but they wouldn't leave the father.
Yeah.
So they got stuck until the war started.
In Vienna.
In Vienna, we were living about 2-3 miles away from the airport, so we saw the bombs coming around us.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must have been. What was that like?
Mm-hmm.
How scary was that?
Scary.
Yeah.
What can you tell?
But was it, did you ever have the feeling of hopelessness or that despair, or was it always a want to survive and to strive?
Well, we always hoped to survive. Everybody said that the war won't start too long, but it did. And then from Antwerp, we were considered enemy aliens.
When the Nazis invaded Belgium.
Yeah.
They
the Belgium,
in May 1940.
Yeah, so the Belgium sent us, all of us, we had to go to a stadium. They collected us, a few thousand people. And from there, they pushed us into France.
Yeah. Did you ever think of not going to the stadium, of not reporting to them, of hiding, of
I don't know
escaping?
anybody who was hiding. No, everybody went.
Everyone just went.
Yeah,
What did you expect? What was the anticipation? Were there any
We
thoughts?
didn't know what to expect. We were in the stadium, and after 2-3 days, they started to push us into southern France.
How did they bring you down to France?
This was a terrible experience. We were sent in cattle cars, 40 in a car.
40 people?
No windows, no nothing. Whatever we had to do, if you know what I mean, had to be done over there.
How long was the trip?
The trip was about maybe 2-3 days, but we made many stops. And the French people, they were just terrible for us.
Yeah.
Just one instance, and on one station, they opened our door a little bit, and we had no food, we had no water. We begged them, please bring us some water. The women were standing outside, and they were yelling first, Germans, Alemans, Germans. And I told them, we are not Germans, we are Jews. Then they started to even yell higher, bigger. And they said, you want water? They came with cakes of water, and as we stretched our hand, they poured it out in front of us. And they were laughing. It was the biggest joke for them.
My God. That's amazing.
When we arrived in the camps...
Where were the camps? Where in France?
Well, I wouldn't tell you. I was in 6 different camps. Villemuse, Saint-Livral, Perpignan...
Well, these were northern France, southern France?
Southern
France.
southern
On the water?
France. Yeah.
Did all of you go? Was it you, everyone, your brothers and your father, your parents?
No, my brother Sidney.
Yes.
And my father.
Rudolph.
Yeah.
What about your mother and your grandfather?
They were told they remained in Belgium.
Oh, so there were Jews who were allowed to stay in Belgium?
Yeah, the Belgian people didn't. The Nazis were the Belgian people.
So the Nazis didn't collect everyone, no matter what?
No, at that time they were fighting, but from my mother and my grandfather, there was a whole transport walking into France.
Oh, so they were part of a group walking of Jews?
In fact, my grandfather was 85 years old. And that time 85 was old, not like today.
Mm-hmm.
She put him on a bicycle and she pushed him into France. And then when they got into France...
She pushed him on a bicycle into France.
Yeah. When they came into France, they got stuck. There was a battle in Dunkirk. It was a big
battle.
Big battle. So the Red Cross took my grandfather away. We never saw him again. We never knew where he was buried or what happened to them there. And my mother found, at that time, my brother William and Max, they were already in America.
William and Max were in America.
The only information she got was from them to them. She didn't know where we were.
Of course, yeah.
And she found out from them.
How did they know where you were?
There's a committee called the Hayas. They were able to give you informations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so these camps, so it was you and Sydney and your father Rudolph.
Yeah.
You were in 6 camps or 7 camps, you said, in just over a year?
Yeah.
What were these camps like?
Well, let me put it this way. They didn't kill us, but they starved us to death and we froze to death. We had the winter, the worst camp was Gurs. I mean, in the morning I woke up, my friend was frozen to death next to me. I don't know how many thousand people a week died. They put him in a mass grave, and we went to the graves to take off their shoes. And we should.
That's how you got your clothes. Yeah.
We had no clothes, nothing. We slept on the floor.
Was there food ever? I mean,
food. They gave you a little. They called it soup. It was a little hot water. Sometimes they said, "Here's a piece of bread. This is your rationing for the next 3 days."
3 days, a little piece of bread.
And it's hard to explain, but it's hard to understand. To go to sleep hungry for a whole year every night. This was terrible.
So if you guys were in these camps and you were just there, what did you do? How did you pass the time?
We were just sitting around. We couldn't do anything.
Was there any camaraderie, stories?
No,
Was there any praying, any religion?
Not much. We just sat around and they said camaraderie. People were talking to each other. But we had, let's say, one camp was Saint Cyprien, which was on the beach. It was hot, but everybody got dysentery.
Dysentery, yeah.
And there was no facilities. There was maybe one outhouse, and we were standing in line. We usually stand there for an hour till we got there. And when we came there, it was too late anyhow. There was no any cleaning or anything. There was.
And who ran the camps? The Nazis, the Germans?
The Free French.
Free French?
Yeah, but the Germans had entrance to this. They controlled the camps. Let's say in one instance, I remember 2 officers came in. We had to be outside, standing.
All lined up for the Nazi officers. Yeah.
And sometimes they picked certain people out, and we never saw them again. And in one instant, they picked me out to push out because I was dressed with the boots which I was supposed to wear to go into Israel. And I was a tall fellow, and they started to give all kind of questions. So then my father said, "This is my son." So they gave me one whip, and they sent me back.
Wow.
I was lucky.
Very lucky, thank God.
Once they pulled you out, you're gone. You
that would have been it. So thank your father. Thank God, Rudolph. That's amazing.
We had no beds, nothing. Just on the floor we used to sleep.
Yeah. Were you scared when you were in these camps?
Yeah, of course.
Always? Were you?
Sure.
I'm just curious.
You never know what's going to be the next day.
Yeah. How did you keep going? Were there ever moments that you just wanted to give up, or was there nothing to give up, or you were just there?
We were just there. We resigned to the fact that we had to be there. There was always hope. They'll let us get out.
Yes. So there was hope.
There was hope, yes. But we never got out. This is another story. Eventually, from Gurs, when you got your affidavits to the States, then you were allowed to go to the consulate. Which was in Marseille. And my brother Sidney got a visa before I got it.
Mm-hmm.
So my brothers from America, they didn't want to leave me alone. They tried to get me out too. They also got my brother William. I don't know how he did it. He always got some phony visas. He got me a visa to go to Shanghai.
Shanghai.
Yeah. When I came to it's called the Deuxième Bureau, the office there, he looked at the paper, and in front of me, he tore it up. He said, "This is a phony."
So you weren't going to be allowed to leave.
I was 18, so I started to cry.
You were 18 years. How old were you?
I was 18 and a half. So I said, my brother was supposed to leave, and bring your brother here. So I brought my brother there, and he said, "Would you have left and leave your little boy, little brother there?" So we explained to him. This was the only good Frenchman I met. He arranged for me to go with my brother together to the next camp, which was called a transit camp. Mm-hmm. Once you were in a transit camp, you were able to go to the American Council.
And then onward. So this Frenchman, in essence, helped save your life.
Yeah.
It's amazing the different people that you've met that were such a decisive matter could decide on your for you to live or for you to die.
Yeah.
What a time.
But the worst part was going to sleep every night without food. This one, you cannot imagine what it means. Being cold, frozen, no clothes. But some survived and some did not.
Yeah. Well, you're one of the lucky ones.
Yeah.
How did you eventually get out of the camps?
Well, eventually we got our visas to go to the States, all of us. So once we left, we got tickets on a freighter. There was room for 20 people. We were 800 on the boat.
800 on a boat made for 20.
Yeah, they were sleeping in the machine room, in the restaurant, all over those, but who cared? Yeah. And then the minute we left, about 2 hours later, there was a big battle going on in the Mediterranean. So they pulled us back and they pushed us into Algiers.
Algiers.
We had to wait there for 2 days till the battle was over. We were supposed to land in Martinique. How my brothers got all this money, they had to make, tickets 2-3 times for us. So 2 hours before we came into Martinique, an English-born boat saw us, which had Belgium troops on it, and we were reported as a German refugee boat.
Oh.
They started to shoot at us. So our captain, of course, immediately he surrendered. So then the English boat took us and pushed us into Trinidad. So in Trinidad we were for a week, where everybody was investigated, and from there we finally left to the States.
And where did you come in America?
To Ellis Island.
You came through Ellis Island?
Yeah.
How was that experience?
It didn't matter as long as we were free.
Yeah.
We didn't care really.
You didn't?
Yeah.
You were just away from the Nazis.
Yeah.
That's And so that was, you were 18 and a half, 19 years old when you got to America?
I was 20 when I came to America.
So you were 20. So it was about 2 years from when when the Nazis came into Vienna until you set foot into American soil.
I came in here in 1940.
And so when you came to New York, how did you guys get settled? Where were you living?
My brothers were waiting for us.
So they had everything ready to go?
Had everything ready to go.
Yeah, and they had started the furrier business, the Berman Brother Furriers?
Yeah.
When did that come about?
They started, as I said, my brother, how we started was also an interesting story. At that time, the big item was Persian paws. So Persian paws you bought by the pound. You needed 5 pounds to make one coat. 1 pound was $10. So for $50, we were able to start. How did we get the $50? We had one shipment from Vienna, which came to the States, and we had our mother's Persian coat in there. So we hacked the mother's Persian coat. We got $50. This was the first. The
first sale.
The first investment for the fur business. And when we came, we started right away.
Yeah.
We were always together in the business.
Yeah, all the brothers. That's fantastic. And so, and then you got married after to Grandma Stella?
I was the youngest. I was married first.
You were married first?
I guess I had to show them how to do it.
You showed them the fur business and you showed them how to get married. When did you meet Grandma?
I was invited with my brother to a Young Israel dance.
Where?
In Brooklyn. And as I walked in, my future wife was sitting there with her married sister and her husband. I didn't know them, but somehow she looked at us, those are the Bermans, so we walked straight over. And that's how we got together.
How did she know who you were?
She knew the Bermans.
From Brooklyn or from
Vienna.
Oh, she was from Vienna. Grandma's from Vienna as well.
She was from Vienna.
Oh, I didn't realize.
I passed by her store 6 times a day. I never saw her.
So you guys knew each other, or you knew of each other in Vienna.
One of my brother Max went to school with her brother.
So you both grew up in Vienna not knowing each other, but
Yeah.
you met in Brooklyn
Yeah.
after the war.
Yeah,
That's something. How long were you married?
65 years. Was a good time.
Yeah.
Of course, in Belgium, as I said, we were working illegally,
Mm-hmm.
which was tough because the police came to investigate, to search. And wherever they came, we had to hide someplace, not to be caught. But once we got caught, this was sent back right away
Back to
to
Austria, to
to-
Germany?
to
Where were
Germany,
you? To
to
Germany,
Germany,
and that
yeah.
was it.
Yeah.
Where would you guys hide?
Any
Did you
place,
have a designated area that you always went to, or
No, we had
you,
any
you
place.
how
When-
strict, how real were they coming in? Were they, going through closets, or were they just knocking on the front door and
They
asking?
came in and they looked in the rooms. They didn't go into closets.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Looking more now, when you came to America and looking back, did once you got settled in New York, did you ever look back at your experiences at the war? When what you've gone through.
What,
Just would you recollect, or did you try to forget what you endured?
you can't forget.
Yeah.
I didn't like to talk about it, which was a mistake. I never told my children, you. But whenever somebody started to talk, I walked away.
Why?
I had enough. I didn't want to talk about it.
So you didn't want to remember?
No.
You wanted to just forget?
Yeah.
And now that's changed?
Well, now it's changed, I realize now, like you said, your organization, you have to tell them. How will the next generation know if we don't talk about it?
Absolutely. That's the idea, and we never forget.
Yeah.
Um,
And in Belgium, the Belgian people took us very nicely. We were invited every day. You come to us and eat on Tuesday. You come to eat on Wednesday. So they took us in very nicely.
yeah. So
And at least we got some food.
good meals.
Yeah.
You figured out how to survive,
Yeah,
and did it in a way
And
that
how-
you were as comfortable as you
in
can be.
In a way, we were better off than most refugees. As I mentioned, my father was in the silk business. The last shipment, which was supposed to go to Vienna, he rerouted to Antwerp. We got the silk shipment and we sold it. There was no problem.
Mhm.
So we had money to,
So that's
to
how
eat
you were able to
and
live.
To prepare an
An
apartment,
apartment for your parents
for my parents.
and your grandfather.
Yeah.
That's a good way that you guys survived. That's very good. I'm also curious. So you were 18, when the Nazis came to Vienna and,
Yeah.
and when this ordeal begun. Prior to that, you're a teenager, growing up,
Yeah.
and you have dreams and aspirations.
Yeah.
How had they changed when you came out of the war and got to New York? How would your thoughts and what you wanted to do with your life change compared to what they were before?
There was no one thing. I mean, you did what you had to do. If we were in the States, we had to make a living. We worked 12 hours a day, and just to survive. We had no family in New York.
Mm-hmm.
We had no relatives, nobody here. And this is an interesting story. Again, my brother William, the oldest one, when he was 14 years old, he had a tonsil operation.
Mm-hmm.
And after the operation, my parents sent him to recuperate to a resort, a very nice resort, about 2 hours away from Vienna.
Nice.
There he met a honeymoon couple from the States.
Uh-huh.
He was 14 years old and they were about 40.
Mm-hmm.
And they became good friends.
Really?
Such good friends that after they went home, they were corresponding to each other. When their family came to Vienna, they always came as our guests. And when Hitler came in March, 2 days after Hitler marched in, my brother gets a telegram from them. What can I do for you?
Wow.
And to make it short, so eventually they all made affidavits for us.
They were the ones that helped get
Yeah.
the family to
Yeah.
America.
Yeah.
This honeymooning couple in a resort
Yeah.
that Uncle Willie
Yeah.
met because he was
Yeah.
recuperating from tonsil
Yeah.
surgery. My God, that's something, huh? Wow. So you have a big birthday in a little over a month. You turn 95 years old.
Yeah, about.
Yeah, about. Oh. Are you happy with your life?
Well, would say I had a good life. I had a good marriage. I had good children. So how can I not be happy? And we had a successful business. So I was very satisfied.
Yeah. No regrets?
Yeah.
No real regrets?
No.
Did it well? Okay. Well, Grandpa, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
I appreciate this tremendously.
I'll appreciate what you're trying to do. I think it's wonderful that some of my family is so interested in our life and the life for everybody else to realize what happened and what should not happen.
Never again.
Thank you.